Hi guys, welcome back to Oldtimer Garage. So it's time for me to get back to the 2CV and carry on with the engine. So the first thing is going to be to take a few of the accessories off and yeah, take it from there really. So let's get started. So I'm gonna try to start by removing everything that's in the way so that I can see a bit clearer what I need to do next. So I'm gonna take the easiest bits to take off and take it from there really. Next I'm gonna try and remove the electrical harness to start with. This is just pain more than anything else. It's supposed to prevent dust from getting into the carburetor, but because I'm gonna clean it all inside and out anyway, I don't really mind. So connections on the alternator can come off. There. So normally now everything else is just connected onto the bulkhead. So that's that. Next, that's alright. I just need. I'm gonna disconnect these commons for the heaters, so I don't need them. And I'm gonna remove the heating boxes anyway. This one is not even welded anymore. Right, so I need these first. Okay, next one. Basically it's very easy. There's a flap in there and two exits, so the exhaust gases come through the exhaust pipe in here, then goes out here, and this is just an air box where the air comes from inside the engine, inside the air conducts around the engine, gets heated up around the cylinders, and then comes into this box. And at the exit of this box, either it goes out through a hole in the wing and goes outside, or it comes through this hole, and with the tube I removed before, this one, it comes straight into the bulkhead, where you can choose either to send it to your feet or to your head. And yeah, that's it. So you've got a cable inside the car here that comes here first, and then move the flap inside to choose which way you want the air to come out of this box. So you've got this cable here to command this flap, and then on the same one it's taken to another cable that comes to the other one and does the same thing. And that's it. This comes here, and then just need to remove the cables. That's this one, and this one I can leave it on there. On here it won't bother me. Next, I'm going to take the alternator off, because after that I want to take these two heating boxes off, and the starter motor, then the carburetor, and the intake manifold, and I should start seeing a bit better. So let's do that. Actually, I'm gonna remove everything I can from the carburetor as well, so I can get rid of all the cables and everything that attaches it to the body of the car. Right, so last thing is the fuel pipe. Here, the fuel pipe is off. This is where the petrol was coming off in the starter video, because this clip here was missing. So because it's an old pipe, it wasn't tight enough around the carburetor intake, and I was just leaking on the hot engine underneath, which is obviously not a good thing to have. Right, back to the alternator now. So first thing I'm gonna need is to loosen this adjustment bolt here. So that should be a number 11, like pretty much everything on this car. I'm gonna need an extension, that will make it easier. There. Right. This is it, and then the next one is on here. That is 13, I believe. No, 14. Yep. There, you need to show it who's boss. And that's the alternator off. So let's see if I can manage to get the belt off without removing the front for now. I should be able to normally. There you go. There you go. And as you can see, it's quite dirty inside. All this white stuff on it is because of the salt. So that's in winter, all the salt they put on the roads, that ends up corroding the aluminium here. I'll have to test it anyway, make sure it works, and same for the voltage regulator, which is here, because on those old models it wasn't integrated into the alternator. If you take any new car now, all of them are integrated at the back of the alternator usually, but not back then. So that's it for the alternator. Actually, even the alternator belt doesn't look that bad. I might even be able to use it. I bought a new one, as you could see in the other video, thinking this one would be cracked and burnt, but actually it still looks good. So maybe I'll be able to use it. What's next? Yeah, I think I'm going to be able to start removing the heating boxes. So that should be what, 13? Yeah. I'll get the ratchet back. Make it quicker. And this should come off. There. So that's the one that I'm gonna replace anyway. Inside is pretty clean as well. I think this exhaust, no, this part of the exhaust has been replaced not so long before the car was stopped, so it's pretty clean. And apart from these rust due to the salts, it's quite in a good shape. Right, let's get rid of the other one. This is alright actually. This one is in a good shape, so I'm going to be able to reuse it. Now, I think the easiest would be take the starter motor off. So that should be 11, if I remember well. Yep. It's only kept in place by 2 bolts. It's pretty easy, like pretty much everything on this car, to be honest. You can see how fast and easy it is to take it apart. Actually, they make competitions where they have 2 teams of people, I can't remember how many of them, and they've got each one of these cars, and they've got a board, a vertical board in front of the car, which with just enough space in it, like a hole that only allows for the body of the car to pass through, and each team needs to take the car apart, pass all the parts through the hole in the board, and then rebuild it on the other side, and do that as fast as possible, and the first team to have the car together and starting on the other side wins. So that's it for the starter motor. Put that back here not to lose them. And that's it. So this is off. So I need to put something in here so that not too much dust gets into the engine, because I don't want to open it if I can't help it. And now I need to get this carburetor off. Might as well just get the whole intake manifold off and then separate the carburetor later. So let's see. Let's see, So that's where I hope these bolts are not rusted or nuts are not rusted, because if they break on the cylinder head, then it's a whole different kind of worm. This one is fine. This one as well. So let's pull at least two. I'm gonna loosen them all first. See what I can expect. Smaller one. As you can see, you can easily recognize the exhaust from the intake, because one is usually clean and the other is all rusted because of the heat. I think these ones must have been replaced at some stage. These ones must have been replaced at some stage because they're not the same size. So what I'm thinking is maybe the people who did that had broke them and had to replace them, so they had to drill bigger and replace by bigger bolts. And there you go. So normally now everything should come off. So hopefully, yeah. There. And there you go. So this I will deal with it later. I'm going to put something on top of the carburetor now, because I'm not going to touch it for at least a few days. And I'm going to fill the holes here as well, so that nothing gets into the engine. One, two, three, and four. And there's one last thing I would like to do in this video, and it's to remove the front grille and the fan behind it, so that after that everything is ready to work on the engine. I just need to take all the air vents off the engine, but in order to do that I need to lift the engine and keep it high, or keep it separated from the chassis anyway. So I'm not going to do that today, but I'd like to take the grille off and the fan off. So let's do that now. As pretty much everything on this car, you can almost dismantle everything with an 11mm spanner. So that makes it very handy to work on. These grills are very handy to recognize the type of engine you've got on the car. So this one is a 602cc engine, and you can recognize it because there are 4 bars on the grill, and they're not all of them at 90 degrees angle. On the 2CV4, which was a 435cc engine, you had 4 bars as well, but they were all at 90 degrees angles. And on the earliest version, the 425, and I think it was the same on the 375 as well, you had only 3 bars and not 4. As you can see, the grill has been shocked here, and the air vent as well here, so I'm gonna have to repair that before painting it. I don't really like working with these gloves, but I have to admit that when you work in an office, it's quite handy not to have black hands all the time. So yeah. So that's where the grill is gonna require some work, as you can see, I think. Yeah. But I'll do that later. And now the last bit is to take the fan off. This one has been short. There's just a few corners that have been broken off. Well, so to take the fan off, if I remember well, you need a 14mm spanner in here, and I should have one. I think I used to do it with this one, yeah, because it goes right inside there. And sometimes people struggle to get it removed because the fan is mounted on a cone, and sometimes it gets very strongly linked together. But yeah, actually I've never had any problems. So what I do is just put this spanner in it, put the big screwdriver, and then shock it, because of course you can turn the engine around. So yeah, that's something that's weird actually, because when I remember how hard it was to start this engine with the starter motor, I thought it was because the compressions were too high, but actually I can turn this engine pretty much by hand. So the compressions are not that hard, which makes me think that the starter motor is probably where the problem is, which is good and bad because, well, the starter motor needs to be restored, but good because it's only a starter motor and I've got another one, so it should be pretty easy to fix. Right, let's get this off. There. So to do that you need to take the bolt completely out. Actually, I talked too fast because I just checked, and the head of the bolt in there that keeps in the fan there is rounded. So someone must have tried to take it out, and it's, I don't know. So I can't take it out. So I'm not really sure. I'm gonna try and heat it up and see if it changes anything. Let's have a look. Nah, it's not doing anything. Nothing at all. Oh, shit. Well, that's going to be a problem. So let's see what my options are now. I'm going to have to get rid of it, but how? That's really going to be a problem. Anyway, I'm going to have to do it. So, well, that's going to be a problem. I'm going to call it a day anyway for today, because it's quite late already and I need to wake up early tomorrow. So yeah, I'm going to think about what I need to do. I'm afraid I'm going to have to destroy the head of the bolt and then find a way of getting rid of it once I've taken the fan out. So yeah, that was unexpected, and that's the first time that happens to me, but oh well, makes it interesting, doesn't it? Right, I also wanted to ask you for your feedback, because I used to make videos about car restorations where I would do the whole restoration in one video and only show like main phases of the restoration, but for this one obviously I've dove quite in detail and making one video per small things or series of things that I'm doing on the car. So what do you prefer? Do you prefer the old ways where I would put everything in one video, or do you prefer me to carry on showing you all the details of what I'm doing? So if you could let me know in the comments, that would be helpful. And yeah, in the meantime I'll keep doing that, and hopefully in the next video I'll keep the fan, well, in the next video I'll have the fan out of the engine and I'll start working on it. Right, as usual, I hope you enjoyed this video, and let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you can give me feedback on this topic as well in the comments, that would be perfect. And yeah, for the rest, as usual, stay tuned and drive safe. Bye.